Hello, and welcome to the Weekly Scroll Podcast. My name is Ryan.
And I made a pact with a fear demon, and everyone keeps figuring out what I'm afraid of.
And today we are joined by a very special guest. That is Kobayashi. How you doing this morning, Kobayashi?
Fine, fine. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for being on.
Yeah. I think what so, before we immediately tangent, because we've all been talking about how much we're going to, so it is inevitable. For those that might not know Kobayashi, who the heck are you? What might people know you for in the space?
I think I'm mostly known for the Black Sword hack. I think I can make a T-shirt that says a Black Sword hack guy, basically, because yeah, a few people know me before that for Flail, but basically, I write and design indie RPGs for well quite a number of years now. And as any, let's say, indie RPG designer, it's I'm like a punk band. I'm known by other punk bands, but not by most of the audience, in fact.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, Hunter. This is something we should have done a while ago. I don't know what episode we did Flayo in, but we are one of the people that knew Flayo before Black Sword Hack. We reviewed that a long time, I think years ago at this point. And it was super fun. I mean, for anyone that likes the Black Sword Hack, if you haven't also read Flayo, you're definitely missing out. There's so much, a little bit of crossover in it, and so much fun stuff in Flayo. But but yes,
Episode 30 was Flayo.
Episode 30 is crazy. This is episode 277. So that's crazy that it was that long ago.
Black Sword Hack was 90. So I think I mean, we did Flayo like fairly early because we backed the Kickstarter. So got it off Kickstarter. I think the same with the Black Sword Hack.
So what, I guess getting right into it, what kind of got you into ttrpgs, and then I guess to Flayo prior to the Black Sword Hack, which again, I mean, everyone in the space knows Black Sword Hack.
I think, like most game designers, I think I've started. It's at one moment you want to play a game, and you go to a store and you go online and you realize that the game you want to play doesn't exist, and you just okay, so I have to write my own now. That's a bummer. And I write one game, then I would like to play this, and you write a second game and a third game, and sometimes people come along and say, hey, I'd like to play that as well, and you kind of, okay, maybe there is a room for me on this market. That's how it goes. And mostly, yes, but the base is I want to write a game that I want to play with my friends. That's the only thing that got me going.
There you go. And then Black Sword Hack was put out with the Merry Mushmen, who people know for the Black Sword Hack, but also Knock 5. I actually just got my Knock 5 recently, as well as a bunch of other stuff that they're putting out recently. How did that happen? How did you and the Black Sword Hack kind of get together, or you and Merry Mushmen get together to put out the Black Sword Hack?
First of all, yeah, I published. There was a first edition of the Black Sword Hack, and which surprisingly too for me, because it worked very well. The first edition, it was it's a platinum bestseller on drive-thru RPG. So without any ads, social media or whatever. And I've worked with the Merry Mushmen on the magazine Knock. I write 2 articles for them, and then one time they sent me an email. Hey, you know what? We've read the Black Sword Hack. We think it's cool. We think it lacks some things. So would you be interested in doing a new edition? So I hesitated for 3 seconds, and I said, yes, of course, let's do it. Yeah. Because they told me, and we got this guy who does art, Goran Gligovic, and I said, is going to do the art? Yes. Let's do the book. Yeah. Completely. Definitely.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone's art style fitting that game more. It was such a perfect marriage of art and layout and design. It just has everything. And it just all parts of it kind of reinforce itself constantly, and that's what we find in games that are happen to be our favorites is that aspect where all of the different parts of it really sing well together. And Black Sword Hack is one of the best that does that. Like, it's very sword and sorcery. And what kind of drew you to that like genre? Because when I talk about sword and sorcery in especially more current indie tabletop role playing games, I will always hold up the Black Sword Hack as like the example of like what to aim for. So what made you want to do that kind of game, or what?
Because first of all, I have a love for this genre in books. All the books by Michael Moorcock, Joe Abercrombie, all that stuff. Tom Gozen by Amanda Salmonson. I really like this stuff, and I always found out that most sword and sorcery games lacked something. It was always a bit too close to Dungeons and Dragons all the way. It's basically, yes, we're making illustrations that look with baddies, with sorcerers, but in the rules, nothing changes. In fact,
right.
And especially with the magic and sorcery. So. What I always say in game design, especially in role-playing games, but it's in every game design, you always have to look outside your domain. So when I wanted to make a sword and sorcery game, instead of just reading RPGs in that genre, I went back to the books. So, okay, so how does it work? What kind of stories do we tell, and how can I model that instead of taking a role-playing game and see how I can model it into the sword and sorcery genre, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I know, Hunter, you've actually run the adventure from the book, even though the book has like a way where you can basically make infinite adventures, with all the resources in it. But and we've talked about this before with sword and sorcery and stuff like that. What, I guess, for both of you, which adventure did you run again, Hunter?
It's the Blood God. Is it the Keep of the Blood God? Is that what it's called?
Blood for the Blood God, I think.
Slayers of the Blood God. Yeah, that one. Really great adventure. We had a fun like fortress to go through that my players got captured in and then had to break out. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then you have recently been putting out a bunch of projects. I know we talked about this before. Golem Parade was recently on Kickstarter, and now Fallen Blades and Stars on Kickstarter. And before that was that one. Why is my brain breaking?
Assassins, Demons, and Dying Gods.
There we go. And that has all been within like the last 6 months ish. Is that how all three of them kind of come out?
Yeah, because for some time I became a RPG designer full-time. So when
Congratulations.
So don't tell that to my banker, but yeah. But so it's a bit easy to where because before that I had a day job, because I started writing role-playing games in 2008. But I had a day job and another day job and another day job, so it was difficult. And when I reached 50, I was I'm too old for this shit. Now I want to enjoy life a little, And yes, I'll be writing role-playing games, and as long as I can, let's say, and as long as it pays a bill, also.
Well, I mean, you will always have a backer in us for all of your stuff. Well, I think we said this before. I think I put it out on Blue Sky or whatever. Like, if you drop a project, you're one of the probably 3 or 4 people where I'll just like immediately scroll down to the most expensive one, click back, and then eventually come back and actually read what I backed, because it doesn't matter what it is. I know I'm gonna like it, and that has held true every single time so far.
That's cool.
So so your current project though is Fallen Blades Endless Stars, and I know I saw you talking about it a little bit on Blue Sky, where you were going to do an itch funding or a Kickstarter for it. You decided to end up doing a Kickstarter for it. So I think it's a PDF only, like it's a print at home version. You know, however it turns out. What made you decide to do both Kickstarter instead of itch, and to do just a print at home version of a game?
So for Kickstarter, it was easier for me to contact past backers. Indeed, and on itch, I don't think I have enough of an audience now to really, you know, Kickstarter is very effective as a marketing tool. You know, it's not as much for the money you get. It's always fine, but just as a marketing tool for indie designers, even if it's crowded, it makes things easier. And for the few people who follow me, it's easier for them to find me too on Kickstarter. So, but I'll see. Maybe for other projects, I'll use itch. You know, we'll see in the future. And for the do-it-yourself part, you know, the print at home, because I printed some games at home, you know, like Kalarath and other games. And I had, you know, my little games that I staple at home, and I felt, you know, oh, it's so cool, you know, so cool. I want to make a project like that. And so that was, I decided, no, I want something very simple so people can print that at home or go at Kinko's or whatever, and it will cost them a dime, and they will be able to print the game. I wanted to have that do-it-yourself feeling, truly. You know, not those do-it-yourself projects where it's not do-it-yourself at all.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
Which I like a lot, you know, but
yeah, the scene has very much moved away from DIY. It's really cool to have a project that's going right now. I'm like, cool, a little print at home DIY zine. I love that, you know?
Yeah, because I'm always happy, you know, with projects that are, you know, that look good and all, but sometimes, yeah, you want to go back to something a little bit more, you know, closer to the roots, I'd say.
Yeah. Back when they were still just zines on Zine Quest, you know, and people weren't putting out $1 million IP, you know, campaigns during the Zine month or whatever.
Yeah. Because yes, I talked with another designer, and you know, the analogy with the punk bands. It's the same, you know. You go to a comic convention, you do a zine. The guy across the aisle does a zine also. You come to him, you buy his zine, and then he comes to you, he buys your zine, and hop,
no,
you did your day. But
just passing the same $10 around the scene for yeah.
Yeah, and that's basically because if you ask anybody, you know, do you know about Kobayashi and his games? 9 times out of 10, you know, people will say, "What? He's a Japanese guy? Don't know him. Don't know."
Yeah.
But you know, as long as you are okay with this, it's not a problem. But you have to be aware of it. It seems for me, at least in France, I don't know. It's not that much in the US, I'd say. But you saw first-time creators. They think they're gonna come and they're gonna do a multi-million dollar Kickstarter right away. And obviously, they're a little disappointed, more often than not. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have noticed that a lot in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
We have definitely had this discussion that's like, oh, this is like their first project. Do they really want to aim for like $300,000? Because it's probably not a realistic goal, you know?
Yeah, once in a fucking blue moon, you know, maybe one will succeed, but that's the exception, not the rule. You have to know that you are a punk band, and I was fortunate enough, you know, the Black Sword Hack is like my single who sold very well, basically. So,
well,
but it's enough to, you know.
It's enough to what?
Oh, it's enough to get by. So
There you
that's
go.
cool.
I mean, because it's an incredible game. I mean, but what you were saying about the scene, we've obviously talked about that here on the show a bunch. Anyone that listens to us, especially episode 200, knows that's kind of how we feel about the indie scene right now. It's definitely moved away from like the hobby space of people making fun stuff just to make fun stuff into, like you said, like first time creators coming in being like, I'm gonna do this full time and make $1 million, and like making games because they're marketable and profitable, as opposed to making games because it's the game that they want to make. And it's a weird kind of space for indie TTRPGs to be in, where marketing is your first priority as opposed to design, which feels like a lot of what's going on right now. Which is why we love the fact that this is a print at home, like quick little game that's coming out right after we just got Gollum Parade, which is great. So it's nice to see, and your kind of path in this space is the way a lot of people prior to, I guess, I don't want to say the current batch did, where you have put out a bunch of things, made a name for yourself, made some successful things, and then went full time, versus getting into this and immediately thinking this is going to be your full-time job forever. I'll bet you there's like less than 50 game designers in the world that are full-time on game design right now. So it's and they're not indie game designers, I can tell you that. So it's just an interesting space right now.
I have a very scientific proved method. I throw things against the wall until something sticks. That's basically what I do.
A classic approach.
Yeah. but about what you said, I always tell people, sometimes people have a rejection to this, but I say to them, RPGs are art. It's an art form. The books are art, but also when you play with your friends, you're doing art. It's a popular art form, so there's no, and I don't say this so, oh, I'm an artist and I'm blah, 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 blah. No, not about this, but it helps you consider the medium in a meaningful way. You don't do art because you think it's going to sell. You're not thinking, I'm going to do this because I think it's going to sell. You can, of course, a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
We live in a society that basically live like that. But I don't think that what produces the best art around.
Yeah. I'll not go too deeply into that. I think the way a lot of people view it, or a lot of people interact with that concept, makes it feel more like they're doing crafts, not art. Because to me, how I've always thought about it, in the most pretentious way possible, as someone who was an art major for a period of time, that art is a thing you make to make a thing, and crafts are the thing you make to sell a thing. And I think there's a lot of people making crafts in this space and not art. And yeah. And that's probably as far as I'll go with that, because I think our last episode is going to piss enough people off. But it's like I said, I think the but I mean, you also live in a world and an economy that's burning, and no one has any money because capitalists and oligarchs have stolen it from us for generations. So I understand the desire to monetize and make some extra money on the side, but I just don't like the space we're in, where we've moved out of hobby and into some Sigma grind set where every second of our life has to be productive and therefore make money. So it's a weird time to be making a thing that can also be sold, and I don't envy that. That's why we're critics, not creators.
Yeah, but that's good, because one thing you can do with art also, it can be criticized. That's a great thing about it. There's nothing sacred about it, So, but also, yes, when you are an indie creator, you're kind in between a rock and a hard place, because you want to make money? Yes, because I have bills to pay, guys. I'm sorry, but
yeah, because I have to. Yeah,
I have to. It's not like because I've done 40 years of shitty jobs, and okay. I consider I've done my part. Now I'm gonna enjoy myself a little, and as long as I can. But yes, it's difficult because, you know, if a big company releases a game, everybody's, oh, it's look great, it's cool, it's a new game. If you're an indie creator, why do you sell it?
Mhm.
Are you a capitalist? Jude, bills, banks, you know, I have a mortgage to pay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yes, it's not an easy place to be, clearly.
Yeah, and you're inevitably going to be like, is this worth the $5 or da 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 for like the thing? And it's just like, yeah, bro, like that's less than the cup of coffee you had this morning, and you're going to get hours of play out of this. So it's a weird. If only people could make art, and not worry about it costing anything. But that is not the society that we're ever going to have anywhere, and that's unfortunate. So money is always part of it. And we just have to kind of navigate it as best we can. So your current game, Fallen Blades Endless Stars, what is Fallen Blades Endless Stars?
Ooh, I'm gonna try to talk about it without violating any copyrights. But basically, I watched Endor and I play Fallen Order on my PS4, and I read Mythic Bastionland by Chris McDowell.
Right.
And it was, oh, knights. Ooh, I want to make a game about space knights because I want to play Star Wars with my friends, but
Nice.
I don't have the money to pay for Star Wars, so I'm going to write something completely different. Space knights that have nothing to do with Jedis and an empire who doesn't have anything to do with the other empire. But basically, I wanted to do that, and as always, I want to make games that basically you read in 1, maybe 2 hours, and you get to play the following evening or the following day, but and with people who don't know much about role-playing games as well. Something easy to teach and easy to run. That's because that's how I like to do things. But yeah, basically I wanted to have a game using Into the Odd rules where I can play a space knight and slice and dice across the galaxy, basically.
Yeah, gotta wield your maze blade, you know?
Legally distinct space knights.
Legally distinct.
Space knights. There you go. So you said it's Into the Odd. It's Mark of the Odd. What made you go? I know you were just reading Mythic Bastionland, which obviously is it even Mark of the Odd if it's from the guy who made the Odd? But what made you? Is it because you were reading it you wanted to go with that, or is Into the Odd just something that you enjoy? I know a lot, especially with like Mouse Rider and stuff like that. Into the Odd just feels like such a approachable system for newer players to kind of get them into that OSR-ish sphere of games and stuff. But what made you want to pick that system specifically for this?
Because first of all, the first time I read the first edition of Into the Odd, it blew my mind. I was, how can you put that much stuff in 48 pages? Because yes, at the time it was 48 pages. And I GM'd it, I ran it, I played. I really, really like, yeah, exactly. I really like this system because yeah, the ease with that you can introduce people new to RPGs with it beats almost every other game. I think even Morgborg is a little bit more complex than Into the Odd, to be honest. And and when I read Mythic Bastionland, yes, it was a bit of synchronicity, you know, knights, space knights. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Seems okay.
There are a lot of parallels there.
And I wanted to do how much stuff I could cram into 40 pages as well. That's it was basically a minimalist exercise for me. How much I can put into 40 pages. Space combat, okay. Design scenario, okay, etc., etc.
Yeah, I mean, 40 pages, because right at the top, you know, that's what it says. You said a 40-page zine brimming with tools and ideas to play Space Knights, fighting an evil empire. And then the list of stuff you put in here is crazy for 40 pages. I think a lot of people could put one of these things in there, but you got maze blade attack moves, rules for maintaining, upgrading your ship, space combat, chases, duels, apprentices, tools and lists for creating NPCs, design planets and adventures with a few dice rolls, and 120 adventure seeds.
120 adventure scenes.
Crazy.
Is crazy.
Yeah, and that's the worst. That's the worst part to do. To be honest.
Why? Why'd you do 120 adventure seeds?
Because there are 20 type of planets you can go on. No, 20 kind of activities you can have on a planet. Basically, is a planet a factory or prison, whatever. 20, and I wanted to have at least 6 adventure seeds per planet type. And then I did the math, and I found out, oh my God, I have to write 120. I think I wept a little, but then I got to work. But you just why did I do this? Why? But
well, you saw the 70 plus knights in Mythic Bastionland and went, I will almost double this. That is what I'm doing.
Chris McDowell, beware.
I think that's like a valuable use of time though, because I think adventure seeds, especially for something that's like a mark of the odd, which it's fairly easy like to take a spark of an idea and put together an adventure. As someone who's run a bunch of Into the Odd, I think that is like such a high value part of any like game you could possibly put out, because it gives it so much life, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I would much rather have 120 adventure seeds than one okay adventure. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Especially with a game like Into the Odd, which is easily designed around campaign play and stuff, to being able to take something and run with it as opposed to have something and kind of have to follow along with it is more my play style. So I will always appreciate the adventure seeds. So this again, pretty small project, print at home, everything going on, but you do have a stretch goal in here. So what do we have for the stretch goal? Which you're not far off of at this point. You're 2/3 the way there with 25 days left.
The first stretch goal is done, so you'll have a little adventure, static adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the last stretch goals, yes, I thought, so what I take inspiration from, they have several episodes. So maybe I wanted to have another take on this this setting. And I thought, what if I mix, Indiana Jones and Star Wars? So basically, let's play space archaeologist. Okay. So that will be the second, stretch goal will be this. I think around 20 pages. So to design your quest, what objects to find, design your nemesis, and creating your team of space archaeologists fighting the Empire. And corporate power, of course, because they're the same.
That's awesome. And now, are you gonna keep it to 20 pages, or is that gonna be your mission? Like, no matter what, I'm gonna stuff it all into 20 pages, or is this gonna
40?
I'm gonna let myself a bit more, a bit more leeway with this one. If it's more, it's more. It's not gonna be a problem. Because people always already ask for things. Can we play an alien species? Well, okay, yes. So I guess I have to make rules for that. So it keeps adding up. It keeps adding up. But I try to stay, a 2-page spread or 1 page per subject. That's when I want to keep it at least a bit that way, if possible.
Gotcha. So, I mean, with the possibility that this is at least 20, potentially up to 40 pages, backing one project basically gets you 2 projects at this point. Like, that's what if it hits $3,000, which again, it's already at over $2,100. With, I think it's only been out it was 30 days, right? So it's only been out for 5 days. Yeah, plenty of time to get all the way up to the stretch goal.
Yeah, as I maybe already said, I suck at marketing. So, yes, I'll do this for free.
You know, I think that's what, you know, unfortunately this is a space we live in, because I guarantee if the same people that are like, wait, who's Kobayashi, are the same people that are like, oh, I love the black hack, you know, or I'm sorry, the black sword hack. So it's you know, it's social media, man. It's hard. You know, I've had to, even just for doing the show, there was a time period where I was like 30, 40 episodes behind on like posting about like our stuff on social media. I had to, because I used to do like, I used to craft the Instagram page, so it was always in like this correct order and shit. And I'm just like, no, I can't do that shit anymore. I post one post when we're done, and that's gotta be it. So I can imagine kind of how hard it is as a creative to like just want to be making games and having fun stuff, but to also kind of have to be a personality on social media too, to really get that that following and to be posting like multiple times a day. I mean, there's people that I have muted now that post like 10, 15 times a day, but they got a following. So you know, I couldn't do that. So I can't imagine as a creator wanting to do that part as well.
No kidding.
I'm like yourself, and I think that's why sometimes some of my projects struggle, or at least I don't reach a larger audience, because you know, I don't want to be posting on Blue Sky every day. Oh, today I had a coffee. It was great. I bought a book. It was a great book. Oh, I took a shit. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't care.
It's a great
I don't
shit,
care.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so basically, you know, I just I posted. Oh, there is this miniature game. I think it's fun. I played. It was, and that's it. Or yes, I'm writing a game. It's released now. Please go see it. But I post once, no, twice. I think, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. Because I don't care. You know, I don't pay ads on Facebook as well. But on the same time, you see that the more people are present, the more they are, I'd say, unbearable. The larger audience they have. That's, you know, that's sad, but that's how it works. But the truth is, you don't always know why something works and something doesn't, you know. Fleo was my first Kickstarter, so I was expecting to make, I don't know, $500, you know, expect to send a book to my mom, and that would be it. But yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's really hard to predict. But I refuse to go to, you know, yes, social media and stuff. I do what I enjoy. I think sometimes I connect with some people who remain, and it will grow, I hope, a bit more steadily. But I'm happy with that. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. I mean, Fleo made close to 9,000 euros, which is great for a first project on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And yeah, we backed it. I don't remember. I literally don't. I mean, I don't remember yesterday. So this is not like it's a stretch that I don't remember like 2+ years ago. But I don't even remember. I didn't even remember that I backed it on Kickstarter. I'm glad Hunter said that, because it brought it back a little bit. Because in my head, I literally was going, "How did I even hear about Fleo?"
Yeah.
But I think Fleo was one of those ones early that we backed and then actually received and then reviewed as well, which was cool in the early days when we were backing. I don't know, peak 2021, 2022 Kickstarter indie game time, when I was backing like 50 projects at a time. But God, I had something that I was gonna ask and it escaped my brain when we started talking about Fleo. But I mean, so the Kickstarter too, though, is great because of one of the things you said, where you can basically use it as a newsletter to contact your previous. So the more you do and the more new people you get, the more people you'll reach in the future. Have you thought about doing something like a newsletter instead of like social media, where you can actually get all those people to just basically sign up for your own version of what you get from Kickstarter?
Yeah, and I think maybe I should do that, because you know, I can do it to, you know, when I want, basically, and I can keep it to useful stuff. So it would be, I think maybe I will try that in the future. Yes, because most people, where is your Discord? And I think I don't. I have glasses. Discord make my eyes bleed. I cannot do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And but a newsletter, yes, maybe that's the way to go.
Yeah, I use Discord for a lot of stuff. But I'm also in like 40 Discords that are muted and stuck in a folder. But our Discord is nice and small, and I can still talk to everybody in it. When I've hopped into some of the bigger Discords, I would love to be able to, looking at like the Mothership Discord or the Merkborg Discord, I have ideas, want to bounce off people. Then you realize there's like 10,000 people, and it's too much. I can't.
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. Yeah. You feel like you're just a drop in a bucket, we're trying to start talking, and it's just too much. I like the size of our Discord right now. Again, small, join out there if you like. The links are in your bio. But that anytime you ask a question, like 3 people will get back to you, and you'll get something from it, and that's a good size for where we're at. We're never gonna blow up and have like a massive Discord. But I would struggle with that a lot to trying to keep up with it, because Hunter's a pro at Discord. He's in there every single day, chatting up with everybody.
I'm the worst at it, so
yeah. I think you've sent like one message in the past like couple of weeks, but anyway, I feel your pain. Just the internet interaction is a struggle, especially for us pre-internet people,
Yeah, because once again, we were talking about, we have the need, I would say, but the obligation to monetize our work already. I don't want to monetize in any way or commodify, as we say, the rest of my time,
Right.
No. Hey, here is Kobayashi. Kobayashi showing books. Kobayashi showing miniatures. Kobayashi watching a movie. Kobayashi reading a book. I would shoot myself. I don't want to impose that to the world. That's not possible.
Listen, as long as you can pay your bills and you're having a good time, that's the dream, I think, at this point. Like, I know I'm never going to own a home, so I just want to pay my bills and go from there. So this is gonna, this is gonna be coming out, again, 25 days left on this, and then you are gonna be working on, hopefully, the Star Raider Space Arcs game. What is there anything on the docket you have planned for after that? Because again, you've been pumping stuff out, which has been fantastic, but anything that you actually have like in line?
Yeah, because I'm a bit mad in the head, so I'm always working between 4 and 5 projects, basically on the back burner, but I come and go, touch. So yes, I think next game it will be a steampunk game, Unlikely Gentlemen. I did a long time ago a quick start that you can find on Drive-Thru RPG, I think. But it's going to be, I think, a 200 pages book this time. But as always, 10 pages rules and the rest, just a lot of content to build your adventures and the setting. And after that, it would be another big project. It would be Dark Leningrad. So how I can sum up this? Imagine that John Carpenter, the movie director, he was born in the Soviet Union. And he made movies there. And this is the game about those movies.
John Carpenter, Red Sun. I got it. Nice. Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Basically, that's it. And I think because my mother is from the Soviet Union. She was born there. She lived there for a long time. So I have a lot of testimonies, of documentation. And I heard a lot when I was a kid. I went there when I was a kid a lot of times, so I have plenty of things to put in there. But you can trust me, it's going to be stupid. Brezhnev is a cyborg. You have sharks in the Sea of Finland. It's going to be pretty stupid, I think.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds awesome. Not stupid. That sounds incredible. I'm very excited for that. Yeah, and then. My brain broke again. I think we're all tired this morning. I didn't get coffee the same way that Hunter did also not get coffee.
I I'm looking at a Society of Unlikely Gentlemen quick start on drive-thru RPG right now. Actually, I'm like, I'm gonna grab this right now.
I'm kind of excited that or not excited. Surprised that I actually haven't heard that one if it was up on drive-thru RPG, because I have a lot of your kind of previous stuff or stuff that you've done before. Like Cursed is fantastic. I don't think a lot of people have seen that. Gun Dogs, I think, is one that you've done as well.
Extinction, which nobody talks about, but which sells quite well. In fact, it's a gold seller. It's basically space horror with the black hack, basically, and it worked pretty well. In fact.
Oh, cool.
Die 100 Times is also one that I love that slaps. You just have so much stuff. You're definitely on like my list of like your favorite game designers. You know, there's a couple people out there that don't really have a social media presence, but everything that they drop is just absolutely incredible. And you are very easily, you know, on that very short list. So for any of our listeners that are listening, definitely go grab all of Kobayashi's backlog, and you'll see some amazing stuff, especially if you like lighter games, because like you said, you know, you're going to put a 200-page book out, it's going to have 10 pages of rules. So you're going to see something like Curse, or you're going to see something like Gun Dogs, or Die 100 Times, and it's light, but it's fun, and it's always full of flavor and vibes. And I really like what you said earlier about like when you made the Black Sword hack, where you're not, you know, picking a system and trying to stuff a game into it. You're picking an experience you want to have and a genre you want to play in, and trying to make a system really fit that genre, which comes through a ton in your game
beautifully
design. Yeah, which just makes the experience much more enjoyable when you don't feel like, you know, you're doing the 5e thing where it's just 5e reskinned, you know.
That's I remember a long time ago there was you know, I think it was I don't remember, but the guy did an OSR game, and we have psychic powers, and the psychic powers were just D&D spells renamed as psychic powers.
Perfect. Amazing. That's such a great fresh idea.
Of course. And they put on Kickstarter for $30,000. But so when people go find all of your previous works, when they go back, you know, Fallen Blades, Endless Stars, and everything, where can they find you? Where can they find your stuff?
So mainly on drive-thru RPG. So as I said, drive-thru RPG is for my big projects, so to speak. On itch.io, I am Alexandre Kobayashi, and this is my experimental stuff. You know, like Die 100 Times, kind of things like that. Brutes, my pacifist game, and those kind of things. And you can find me on two social media, because I'm old. You can find me on Facebook. So where I am Alexandre Kobayashi, and because I'm not a fascist, you can find me on Blue Sky, where I am, I think, Alexandre Kobayashi as well. I guess. But close enough.
If you search Kobayashi, you find you right at the top. Yeah, you are Kobayashi-RPG.
There you go. I have a question. So you have a lot of stuff on your drive-thru that's not on your itch.io, and you just say you use your itch.io for your like more experimental stuff. Are you ever considering migrating your like previous work onto itch as well?
Maybe. To be honest, not now, because the problem is drive-thru RPG. If you put a PDF on it, the first comment you get is, "When do I get pod? When do I get print on demand?"
Right.
And on each area, I can only put the PDF, and if the people want the pod, they have to pay more. So I'm kind of screwed on that point, to be honest. But as Fallen Blaze Endless Stars is a digital product only, I think I'll put him on both. But on each out, that's the problem. If you want to do print on demand, it's complicated.
Yeah,
it's complicated. Because as I live in France, drive-through RPG is great for people in the US, in Canada, whatever. They can still buy my games, physical copies of my games. If I print things in France, it's gonna cost an arm, and I like to send it to you.
Yeah, and it's only getting worse and worse with the tariffs and stuff. I know we've had Alex T on a lot, Black Oath, and that's exactly their philosophy as well. Is they live in I believe it's Spain. Maybe Portugal, but I believe it's Spain, and that's exactly their philosophy. If people want hard print my books, which they really like, Drive-Thru has print shops in Europe and in America, and even just to be able to have it is better not having it. So it makes sense. And again, it's only going to become more and more viable as the tariffs and the whatevers and the when fascism spreads. But the nice wave of orange fascism. But yeah, so we'll make sure that the links to Fallen Blades, Endless Stars, to your itch, to Drive-Thru, everything is exactly where everyone thinks links are, down below and everything. And Kobayashi, seriously, thank you so much for coming on. Again, we are big fans of yours. We're always going to re-skeet and back and everything, all of the work that you do. So it's really been a pleasure getting to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And that's gonna be it for today. Catch us on Thursday. We're gonna be chatting with Logan Dean, and then Friday maybe we'll do a game. We haven't decided yet, so we'll see what happens then. But again, thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk to all of you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.